All right, folks, what's going on? Let's get right back into another session here. Number 502, talking the latest harmonic patterns that are happening and then not happening. A whole bunch of noise, really, in the last couple of days, but nothing's really changed. So, want to highlight a few situations, kind of priority wise today. Dive into a couple bigger charts because other than stocks, we got to look at the precious metals market. Hold on, let me clean this up and start targeting. Oh, hold on one second. Hold on one second. There you go. Start targeting some long positions. So let's dive in there. Start with gold. And then as you guys pile in here, why don't you pop some symbols in? I'm personally, I think we probably have like this pretty tight window of what's happened in the last week or so as some kind of capitulation. Gold's like 4,400 right now. One second. Hey, one second. I think I got a little issue. What's going on? Give me give me an audio check, guys. Let me know how things are looking on your end. And let me check my level here. Anyway, hold on. Yeah, let me know, guys. Give me an audio check really quick. Settle in there. We'll look at Bitcoin also. I don't know. Not a hell of a lot to look at in terms of markets. What they've done in the last 30 days is just kind of nothing except for grind lower. But gold right now seems to be like the market to be lining some stuff up. There you go. Daily. Awesome. Thank you. Great. So, gold futures, guys, what are we looking at right here? Right off the top. Pretty big kind of deal, actually. Our first major ABCD. And we could even just trace it out like that. AB. Go CD right off the top. It's kind of like right around 41, 4,200. Back at this, we can go back to like October swing and add the 886. So looks scary. I'm super bullish long term, and I think this is a massive gift. We've been looking for a retest of like 4,800, 4,600, something like that, and we've overreached. Now all we need to do register a couple of oversold signals, and you're there. I mean, you're starting to stabilize already, and this might take a few more days, but look, again, I think these are extreme low prices. I think if you're down in the 4,000 area for gold, anything, this is a deep value area. If you wanted to get long gold 2 months ago, 3 months ago, all right, this is it. This is your next shot. Up 17 right now, not a biggie. I mean, yesterday was the kind of like, I call it that capitulation on a 4-hour chart for gold. You're just kind of doing this big retest 886 move. That's like 4,500. It is an alternate bat, so that's why you're still generating the pattern. But, it's I think the main number to focus on down here, like precision, extreme targets, call it 4,280, maybe 4,240, something like that. So let's see how this plays out next few days. What I'm saying is that's a major, possibly low for the year. Let's see. I mean, GLD, that got totally washed out yesterday under 400. You're putting in some major confirmation. I mean, if we want to see opportunities, nice patterns, gold and silver are starting to trigger them now. So keep an eye on this. Like 400 generally, what's that? Yeah, it's like 480 to 400. We could still come a stretch lower on GLD, like 377-ish, but I don't expect this retest under 400 to last long. Yeah, that's probably one of the best potential setups that have kind of landed in our lap in the last last week or two. I mean, especially after last week getting washed out. I'm saying gold is almost washed out down here. Maybe one more sweep retest. Sub 400 is the area. SLV, same kind of a deal. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's amazing how people kind of throw it in the towel when if you're looking at silver in the context in the next couple of years, you're looking for that next continuation point. 4-hour chart on SLV, guys, is like 59 is an absolute low for the bat pattern here. 61-ish even, that's probably, you start looking for longs down here. 59.61-ish. 54, maybe 54 later, but I think you're oversold. You're due for a minimum reaction, 10, 20%. Silver right at 70 bucks right now. Same kind of deal. 4-hour pattern. Those are patterns, guys. Those are like, when people ask me, okay, how do I identify a pattern? You're there with confirmation. They look like this. They look like that. And the software kicks it out. The software, sometimes it's, I don't know, it's easy to get things overcomplicated. But in terms of where's the opportunity, we're not even considering the opportunity until we get the T1, some kind of a dot, and then the retest. And that defines where we target the opportunity. Silver needs to pop above 72 to really get going, but we're thinking like, let this kind of stabilize out and just get up to target 1. Pure reaction. That's that minimum assumption. I think after what happened the last week is safe to say, because if we were going to go lower, we'd already be lower. We'd be under 59, period. Silver futures. Guys, maybe Bitcoin is getting a little bump. Where's the retest on silver? I'll go back to that really. There's one quick question on silver. Are you talking futures or SLV? Because silver futures at 70 right now. I think think of it this way. What's the most important number? If you want to tell if determine if silver is bullish or bearish over the next 30 days, or maybe even the next 10 days. What's the setup here? T1 dot, with the dot check back. So the main number is that 886 at 68.28. We'll see if you get a check back. I don't know if you're going to get another check back here. The way that I would look at it is, so the question is, where's the silver retest? to get in. And I'm saying like today, right now, as we're talking, this could be leaving the station because you've got a lot of things lined up where you're above the 50 on that 4 hour chart. You just need to break above. Break above, set that in motion, and then go for. You got to think of it this way also. Everybody's kind of looking at the end of the month, the next month, early April. So, end of the first quarter, the bigger moves that were going to happen have probably happened. You know, the big retrace moves. They've probably already happened, the bulk of them. So, you know, don't get too far over the skis any one direction. This is framework, pure framework. If you get a retest at 68, that's probably the number. For SLV, that was like, come back, 60, 61, 61.75. So we'll come back to that. I mean, I think you're going to get a little reflex rally, and it's probably going to look kind of like Bitcoin, where longer term is still, you know, just constructively bearish, at least until, and I don't, you know, again, guys, I'm just talking technical harmonic framework. All right. And I think anybody that's a Bitcoin maxi, good luck. You know, we're just talking about immediate trend, long-term trend. What are the reasonable assumptions we can make about Bitcoin and the current trend? We know what the longer term targets are down at that they still are down at 39K. All right. So even if you wanted to be bullish, folks, you can't even be bullish until you surmount this downtrend. And that's all the way over here. You know, that's you are best case scenario. Even if you popped up in the sky, you're still a month away from being able to get out of that downtrend. And that's not what I'm saying here. In fact, I'm saying we need to go and retest a couple of things, which probably takes us below that weekly low, 65,885. So sub 65, even in the best case scenario, to retest some obvious recent HSI. That's what that is. That green arrow right there for Bitcoin is popping out of the weekly zone. This week we're above the 50, so you know I'm watching what happens here, because if we roll over and say this happens again, this is the next continuation. Couple more days, certainly by the end of the week, and then your HSI should not exceed that prior high. So it's just, it's where we are. I got to say this, a lot of the market, with what's going on, the market's in a garbage time period. Last 6 months, guys, have been garbage. So you got to kind of understand and temper the frustration. Happens to myself that a lot, where I just have to say, okay, the environment is not there. We just don't have too many things setting up right now. And when we have things like QQQ, let me swing back to there, doing the obvious, which is we're still looking for the 382. Okay, this is why not only is the market not moving, it's starting to go lower after this pretty vicious 6-month distribution top. That's what that is. It has to get relieved down here at the 382, which is 347, 345. It's just taking a long time, but guys, It's just kind of like this slow certainty. And so any long positions are going to really suffer. And I'll bring up a couple big ones starting to really kind of slide. I think they're going to be bigger opportunities soon, but we're on this kind of verge of taking out and shooting this gap, which is sub 580 straight to 550. And I think that's something where the next couple of weeks, it might even be by the end of the month, that we're kind of shooting this type of a gap, filling this to the downside. So let's, just kind of embrace that, understand that no any long position, any of the bigger bullish patterns that are setting up are going to need QQQ to basically fall into this zone, which is sub 550. And it's a break of this. Okay, no, the November low, which we've already done. So I expect this a lot like last year. And again, guys, it's kind of crazy, but we are relatively kind of unfolding in a parallel time frame as last year. And check it out. I mean, you're at a point where this is last year. And here you go. I'd have to argue that we're kind of like in this area. And then last year was a 1-2 week, maybe 7-8 session flush. So I want to be really clear. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I've been mentioning that we need an oversold event. I'm looking for a 7-10 day flush. When? Where? I mean, I think it's already started to trigger. If we look at last year's weekly readings, once we started really breaking down, and we got into the oversold, that's when actually we got that bigger second wave. So check this out. We're here on the QQQ. Okay, we're not oversold on amplified RSI. And at this point, that would almost have to be a mandatory minimum. And then here's HSI. So this is the thing, why I think it's going to be this week. I think it's just, I'm surprised we're not already kind of flushing here. We're down 5, not even 1%. But I'm looking, we're so right in that spot where this is this kind of falls apart in that kind of a breakdown. And we know that the 382, okay, all time 382, well, not the all time, but off of last year's 1618. Maybe this takes a month, but I don't think it takes 2. And it could be like a 10-day thing, next 10 days. So just be aware of that, okay? We need that capitulation. It's similar to last year where we were saying, okay, let's wait for the retrace. I jumped in a little early on some things last year, but it all worked out. And it's similar deal. I mean, I expect something like that, and then maybe, I mean, if it really kind of falls apart on a deeper level, just to visualize it, okay? I mean, it wouldn't be that big of a thing, like a 50 or a 618 retrace off of last year's rally. Then a bigger flush sub 500, and I still would say we're looking for the long-term capitulation for the next turnaround. So is this a 2022? That's the other thing to look at. I don't think so. I think it's more like last year. But there's 2022, and we had it seemed like a lot. Nasdaq was 30% off the all-time high. Ended up being the next monster buy opportunity. And so, I want to be really clear about this retracement phase we've been kind of wallowing in, that we haven't hit the capitulation event. We don't have, we're looking for, let's just stick with the minimum. We're looking for that 382, and that's 545. So as long as we're up here at 583, again, you're not really positioning longs. I'm pretty much looking to sell rallies. Anyway, I'll take a couple you guys want to look at. You guys have any questions, you can reach out to me. Everyone that's new here, welcome. I just want to kind of make sure that new folks take advantage of getting the trial, 2-week trial of the software for TradingView. Send your username, that is your TradingView username, to hpc@sr-analyst.com. And then we'll do patterns like the ones we looked at, others that are still kind of coming together. I want to look at the diamonds. I think this is pretty interesting too. Here we are. Right. Yeah. What's the monthly? Yeah. So, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, guys, let's just get some context here. Okay, what direction is that? And how do you feel when we look at it within context of this? Obviously, this monthly HSI that was generated, that's official in 7 days. But then where's the next opportunity within that long-term channel? I'm looking for this to come in a bit further, and this might end up being a full 10% correction back to like 450. But within this whole deal, again, I just want to be clear. If we get that kind of flush move, I want to be buying it or looking to buy it sub 450. Currently 461. So just, I don't know, the way this whole thing is shaping, it just been shaping up. It looks like we get that flush. It happens pretty quickly and then leaves people in the dust, like last year. And I would say we're real similar. There you are. That's March monthly chart of last year, April, and that was early April, bang, and then right back and gone. And that it could be, 440, 420, something like that, pretty quick, and then you go again. One other one, and I'll look at what you guys are posting. If you want to look at something, put the symbol in. Crude oil is back up above $5, and we just think no one really knows exactly how this thing is going to end. Seriously, and I would only look at measured target levels. What's possible? Like, if this is really a breakout, where is it going? If we're not going to get above, and the current read on it is that we're at this 886. Was taken out, but it's still the kind of the make or break. If we close under 96, 97, by next week, then this might be done for now. I'm surprised it's still up here. And I think what even just a minimum, take it like this, go for a 382 where we are. Currently there. 382 is like 90 bucks, $92. So I'm not really, I'm not that bullish on it. Okay, guys, I'm actually looking for this to top over, to roll over, top out up here, and it's either going to be in that 90 95 area, or for in like an overspill move. This target too is sticking out. We do have a big, check that out. I mean, software is kicking out a deep crab, and you know how pesky these can be. So I'm keeping my eye on it. I just think that this thing will top out pretty quickly. Who knows if it's going to be super short term, but for now, where we are with the whole signals, still trying to finish some kind of overbought condition. Not there yet. I would even say look for this thing back above the high. Maybe a flash back to 101, 102. One more time. It's not over. Not over yet, but where's the inflection gonna end? I think if it's not here, if it's not like 102 to 108 ish tops, then it's 140. Which is great if you are into the XLE, which is probably, in this massive blow off phase like GLD. Really amazing. I mean, it did nothing for 4 years. And that could go a lot higher. Just pure speculation. People just kind of blindly saying, I need exposure because I don't have exposure. So XLE, go to the monthly here. Pretty clear we're looking all-time 1618.75. One way to play this, guys, is just to break it down on a 5-minute chart. I mean, look at that. Arrow, diamond, dot. What about the hourly? Yeah, you're not going to get much. I mean, I just think this thing moving the way it has been, short-term corrections are going to be few and far between and probably come only on a 5-minute basis. Hold on one second. Yeah. Okay. Let me scroll back. What's going on, everybody? I just kind of been riffing on charts today. I had 2 bad trades this morning, and then I just walked out. I don't know if I'm going to trade again today. So I'm down just a couple $100, but had a good day yesterday, and it was just I think it was I'm not in a totally 100% headspace right now to trade. Not today. Maybe I need some more coffee. But even that's not working. I don't know, coffee drinkers, if you know what I mean. Some days the coffee just doesn't get it done. Anyway, let's look at, let me just kind of scroll back to the top. Yeah, we did SLV, guys. PLG. William wants to look at cubic. Come on, man. Really? PLG is the type 2, but I would be looking at the bigger players like CDE. Look, there's a daily type 2, 222, BAT and BAT. I think that's, if you ever wanted to buy PLG after today, you got the dot, you got T1, T2, it's confirmation. Go ahead. 165. I would steer you though more to like CDE down here, bigger silver player. And even that doesn't have the greatest of pattern. I wish that came in a little bit more. What about the 4 hour? Not yet. Maybe a little, maybe right here at 16. You get to 16. Did you get there? 30, 1633. But the bigger players. But PLG, yeah, probably the best spot in months today. Uh-huh. We looked at crude oil, CL. What about CLX, Clorox? This is one we talked about last week, and again, it popped. Now it's right back down. But guys, I'm really starting to like this thing. I know we talked about why this still needed time, some counter HSI. We're back here near lows, not only for the year, but for the last 3, 4 years. But I'm starting to look in the same way I was looking at Target last year. This might be a couple of weeks away, but I definitely trying to line some things up in this environment where, all right, if this pivots, turns around, then bang, jump on it because it won't be down here that long. Almost oversold one more time. Yeah, a couple others. Corn. You want to look at corn. Why corn? I don't really do ag commodities. I'll look at it, but yeah, I've never traded. No. Corn, what? The ETF? Yeah, didn't we look at this a couple weeks ago? I mean, buy the ETF and ride the price of corn. It's not going to be anything huge, but you know, I don't want to find anything wrong with that. It's got a pattern. It's got kind of all the things you want to look for. 1861, you know, that's not even $1 off of the zone at 1790. So yeah, okay. I mean, I think again, we're looking more for trending stuff, but that could work. What else? Hold on one second. All right, thanks everybody. What else we got? IONQ. Where are we at with that? Hold on. Dot. Second dot. Where's the third dot? Yeah, that's you know, probably another week. There you go. Sorry about that. Uh yeah, look, ever since that crab, where's the dot? Here's another one. Tower Semiconductor, one of the few that, you know, just keep on rocking. I'm monitoring this thing on like a 5 minute. I mean, heck, we could buy it right now. All right, there you go. A little day trade. Gartley, type 1, type 2 at like 173. But this thing wants higher. My assumption on this, it's not only, well, it's already at 1618, but I'm looking for this to do like a micron or a SanDisk kind of move. There you go. Like there's your 1618, and that's right there at 176. Boy, if we got a 382 and then go, that would be ideal. So that's TSEM, guys. Get that on your radar. This thing's moving, and it's moving like SanDisk. So many similarities. I mean, SanDisk was, they relaunched it at 40 or something. Okay, I mean, look at that. April 25, that was, what was it? $30? $30 to 700. That's what I'm talking about. So, and even if the kind of the parallel, like a tower semi, yeah, you have to look at it like this. You know, this SanDisk, when it was at 160, 180, it looked crazy. Okay, that's the way to recognize it. That, all right, and what's going on here? Where's the real opportunity? Well, you had the explosion and then that high level continuation. I'm looking for that in a number of these. So that's kind of the bigger continuation signal to where you do something ballistic. Not there yet, but getting close. A couple others. What is, well, AG, yeah. That's another big silver play. First Majestic. Doing the retrace. Okay, yeah, listen, we got, you see these dots here on the daily. That's a great thing. And again, this fits into the retracement opportunity we've been looking for. We got overbought. Now we're oversold. So that number is like 19, 18, 19, sub 20 something down here. And for the first time, I would say the most realistic time is since November. So this is the first kind of complex signal, complex overbought, oversold since back here, back in November. And I'm looking at this as well, something like that, getting that oversold. All right, give me a couple more days, but you're looking for this to stabilize here around 18 and then continue back up rest of the year. A couple others. I mean, it's not happening in stocks. You got this, geopolitical risk, and nobody's going long. But once they get past it, and hopefully it's on a retrace, then it's going to be another massive opportunity like last year. A couple others. What do you guys got? Microsoft. Yes, we got to talk about that one. Now look at NQ. Microsoft 372. Wow, check that out. NQ is sub 24.2. I'll get to that in a second. We're getting close, guys. I mean, remember, daily time frame. And we were talking about coming back, retesting from last year, 375. We are there. Talk about looping. That's looping, guys. You go up, all the way back down. Here you go. And I would say bottom end of that range is 352. Pretty interesting. You're there. So, and the T2 just went on, by the way. Don't even look at it until we get confirmation, but that's the target range. You're oversold across the board. Now, I think you could make that flush 20 lower to 352 before you do confirmation. But that's been what we've been looking for. It's just taken a very long time. And we got back down here. I mean, the same can be said for Meta. Meta, yeah, the shark. All the way back here. Shark back here at sub 600. T2 just registering today. All right, need confirmation after the fact, though. Not before, after. So I'm still thinking 575 is the low end of that hop. And we get another oversold. Yeah. AGO. That's the silver. Assured guarantee. Are you sure? Assured guarantee. Yeah, it's still lower. I mean, I don't know if that's what you really mean. Yeah, I mean, again, okay, I don't know. Someone was asking for this. I thought it was something else. But just again, the market is mirroring where we're at in individual stocks as well as the indices. And it's, look, T2, and we're back down and go back and retest patterns from last year. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If we haven't retested last year's lows or come close to it, you're about to do it across the board. So just keep an eye on it. That's the takeaway. You know, I don't. Overall, this is like an asset thing. This is about asset allocation. The increase in asset allocation for now is out. Done. Not happening until we can get through the rest of this slop. There will be individual winners, but I'm still waiting for things to get oversold, like IBM, guys. This is going to be a phenomenal opportunity once we generate some oversold figures and triggers. But the daily just got overbought. I don't know if anybody saw this, but again, not a good sign, not a good look for markets in general. Forget the pattern even though it is a perfect type 1. I mean, it's a perfect type 1. But now, I've been looking for something in IBM to trigger it. You're currently 240. It's more like 211 to 197. Again, the only thing that hasn't happened here, guys, is the actual price. So we're close. We're close to that flush. There's IBM going back like how many years? 4 years, 5 years? Anyway, let's do one or two more. CCJ, Cameco. Cameco Corp. They are uranium producers. Weekly is oversold at 106. But start to look next week. Okay, that's exactly the kind of high level continuation that can lead to a bigger kind of breakout push. But not until Monday. Give that till Monday. It won't be official until Monday. But that's, that one and URA. These are going to keep winning. It's just at what point we have this retrace right now. The URA Global X Uranium ETF from 60 down to, what was that, 46. Just looking for this thing. Are we going to break out? Is that it for that retracement off the top? It's right there, 47, guys. But definitely another one to watch, because if it's a trend continuation from there, you go a lot higher. Ideally, we still want this to happen. Come in, bang, and go. Like the rest of the market, it's just not in position. It's bizarre. It's kind of like I don't know, right before it rains. There's something coming. You know it's coming. All right, when are we going to have the drop? When are we going to wash this out? And then get on with it like last year. Look at the NASDAQ really quick. I can't remember a time I saw this many wicky candles. And it's you piece this together any way you want. This kind of price action, massive wick, lower body candle action and close, big wick, like they pushed it up, and not only did they not close it anywhere, I mean, it's not even close. This is not the beginning of a bottom or an inflection or anything. This is kind of the halfway point of some kind of accelerated flush. And this has been going on since the January peak. You go there, we peaked out, we didn't do much. We haven't done much in 6 months. But since we did that little flash above prior highs, couldn't even get above the October high. And then broken down like that for 10 weeks. No, just to be clear, I do think that your 24,195 guys, this doesn't really end until like 22.8. That's kind of what we need to be thinking in the short term. We shoot that last gap 22.8. So any long positions, any patterns, any things that are setting up, yes, they're definitely setting up. Just be careful. Be really careful. Bring back Oracle, which is something I've been looking at, waiting on. It got super oversold a couple of times. And we're here again at 147. Even the monthly, where are we? There you go. Monthly is oversold on Oracle. Now, that needs to pivot out, all of that. But again, just get that relative perspective. This is how in a lot of ways, we are oversold. We're in that condition, but we need to finish it. Let me see. Where are we at with NQ for today? I haven't even opened my screen yet for the afternoon. 174. Oh yeah. Couple of back to back, but right now, yeah, again, under 154 for today, guys. Then this thing should fall apart. I would actually, I'm not really interested in playing any long positions, but if you are, you're looking for a dot. It's early, and there you go, but not ready yet. Couple more. TAN. Yes, the solar ETF. That is working. Remember Solar Edge. That seems to be kind of the one where looks like it's going to fall apart and then makes a dramatic return. I'm still looking at TAN myself. I would just accumulate it. Next spot's 53. And within this uptrend, within the weekly uptrend. Weekly, monthly. So not going to be exciting, but this has been winning for the better part of 18 months. Yeah, I think so. One or two more, guys. FCX, Freeport McMoran. Yeah, that's finish the type 1, right? Well, that's reaction. So again, perfect example of T1 going on. That was Friday, but our consideration isn't until literally starting yesterday at 53.48, and you're oversold. That could be a nice setup. 53.48 for a return move back to 68, but it's going to have to wait until we get out of the zone. This is really close. I mean, you pivot out next week, you're gone. But I like that. That's been a really nice pattern too. Yeah. Oh, I did want to show you guys. Remember we were talking about SMCI? And I think I brought this up last week, and we finally got down there. So we hit the massive return level. Let this be one of the greatest examples for a type 2 return of all time. And we waited on this for a long time. At 57, we said it was a type 1. There was a lot of interest. And said, no, we got to go retest. And 22.27, all the way back, the XA has been hit. And we're still, you would be waiting on confirmation, and it's not there yet. But that was a perfect type 2 return character. Yeah. What's going on, Fano? KR, KNF, KR, KNF, Kraken Robotics, OTC. Yeah, I can't do anything with that. It's OTC. I mean, it's already up. You can't do anything, man. Not with that. I mean, what are you going to do with that? Where is it going to go? Maybe if you could wait for a 4-hour pullback, but that's risky at that point. You know, you're up 30x or 20x off the low. So, you know, I can't do much there. I did want to look at USO really quick because this is United States Oil Fund. All right, first time in a long time this is really even generating any kind of overbought signal. But check out what's going on. We have some prior patterns up here that might explain why we're hitting resistance now, which is this big bat, you know, another kind of looping retest, but that still puts you 120, 140. This week, if we can basically register that arrow against the prior zone, you know, early, all of it's early. All of it's early. Not, you know, again, we're just kind of at that point. Grinding lower. Hold on, let me go back like this. 175. And there you go. That's NQ. Look, I think I'll just kind of wrap it up because we'll use NASDAQ as the barometer, where if asset allocation is going to come back into stocks, all right, think of it like this. First, it's going to go NQ, NASDAQ, all right, then S&P, like just SPY flat out, and then gold. But right now with NQ doing this, and not only that, we've already put in this oddball shaped deep crab that says we're halfway through to a 1618. And that 1618, guys, that's how we get to 23. Currently 24, 188. So just been put on notice. We've talked about this for a while, but now we're kind of finally there. Multiple ways. Even the daily. I mean, look at what's going on in the daily, HSI. So just suck it up. Understand this is the market, and this is going to be the market until we resolve it. And this might be a couple months. At least maybe another month. Not much. Looking at a lot of setups, just need more time. A couple more. How will what news affect SMCI needs confirmation. So SMCI, if I was going to consider it, okay, maybe next week would be the first time I'd look at it. But that was the framework we talked about for a long time. Lumen Technologies. Love the name. Love the name. I don't know what this is. Major telecom. Give me 1,000. Let's go. That's quite a chart. I mean, I don't have a heck of a lot to offer. You know, if that's a continuation at 682, that you should have at least one more thrust. At least it's off of the lows in 2024. Monthly chart looks like that. It's pretty interesting. You got my attention. $4 though. Back at 412. Yeah. NQ, I just don't see anything, guys. I don't think I'm going to pull any trades today. Again, I didn't have a good morning. It took 2 losers. And I'm done. I had, yesterday was pretty good. So I think I'm going to just cut it there. You got 1 or 2 more? Love Caterpillar. What's up, Dan? Dan, Caterpillar is just a buy. Every once a month. It's back at, you're already 7. You're back above 7. There's a whole bunch of stuff at 680 down here. 5-minute chart. I mean, it's just, it won't be long. Caterpillar will be 800 probably later this summer. It's just where. I think, back at 680 is probably the next set of support to retest. We're a little overbought right now. 710 resistance, 680-ish. That one, Coherent. Coherent's this other data center play, guys. COHR. It's ridiculous. But that's not ending anytime soon. So what I say, get on an hourly. Can you, some diamond. You had a, 232 bat hop back here. 248-ish. I'm trying to find those that are running and then look for spots to jump in, continue. There haven't been too many. I mean, check out Coinbase, right? Coinbase did the massive move off the weekly target to 150 all the way back to 220, but now right back down. Coinbase, guys, be really careful on any longs here, because I think if we fail 150, there's nothing till $70, and MicroStrategy's the same way. That's the problem with these. There's no real bullish pattern. You're on the verge of failing like major multi-year support, and if you do so, there's nothing but air underneath there. strategies like this, guys, and come on. The Gartley, interesting. All right, here's a Gartley on the weekly off of the 2024, that 2024 low, 2024 high, ABCD. That normally I would say there's a home run opportunity. Arrow, arrow, dot, dot, checked back. You put in a diamond last week. So 127, 130-ish for strategy. I don't know. I'll start watching this. It's kind of like hymns, quite frankly. It doesn't have amplifieds above or not above the 50. HSI is, but you need to see some more action, more upside to break above the 50, and then possibly that could go. But I'm not a fan. I think what the more likely scenario is you have this big pattern, but instead you're going to do a massive 886 reset. And be aware, this has been done before by strategy, and I think that's what you're looking at. And that's $65. Just be aware of that, guys. That's still the outlook. So a lot of these things that seem to be setting up, I don't think they're ready yet. And you got to look monthly, weekly, monthly. Monthly there, you don't even have one green bar since last summer. Oxy, did that ever work out for Buffett? Occidental Petroleum. Oh, finally did, but it's right back at the price where he started buying it. Not bad. I mean, that's pretty good. What about rig, guys? Ooh, Transocean. See, I was long rig a long time ago. I'll tell you a little story. I bought in 2020 after the big negative print on crude oil. I looked at a handful of refiners, big integrated, and then these other plays. And I was down here. I bought a ton of this, right? Like $150, $2. And then it went up and came back and did nothing. And I got out before the bigger move. Happens. Always happens. So for me, there's definitely a little sting in this one where I want this to be a massive winner. But I do like it a lot more now than a couple of years ago. The difference is that we have this higher low, especially 1, 2, 662. I mean, geez, that was $2 back in December. So keep your eye on this one. RIG, R-I-G. I mean, this is the kind of stock that could go to 20, go to 30. We're looking for jump on points. RIG. Yeah. One or two more. Geospace Technologies. Well, what goes up must come down. 790. I don't like these. I don't like them if they're not going to sustain the gain. And this one on the weekly, I mean, between 5 and 15, great. Beyond that, it's unrealistic. And then you go to the monthly here and see, okay, this is a massive 886 reset. And I've seen these patterns before, guys. You're realistically 10 years sideways. So, and I'm going to be the first one to kind of, be critical of the pattern. It's a phenomenal, beautiful pattern. Where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity? It's, maybe there with that confirmation the first time. That was back in February 2016 at 11, and then it goes up and you run right into a counter HSI that slams it right back to where it was. And so then maybe this is the second opportunity, monthly chart, and maybe you're turning around right here. Maybe. But great pattern. I don't want you guys to think, oh, this is perfect type 1. It's just going to immediately go to target 1. No. But we need to pivot off of some kind of confirmation like that on the monthly. The daily's got a couple things. Oh, check that out. All right, interesting creature. Thanks for bringing it up. Did look like it tried to make the run in October 26. Then he said no thanks. And then back at T1, bang, T2. Now there's confirmation, but what happened? We got overbought again. So guys, this is going to come back in a little more. At minimum, green line. $10, under $10. That's how to read that. But, all right, I'll put it on the radar. Bring it up next week. It's going to need at least a week, maybe 2. I like that rig. I just be patient on it, but get rig on the radar. Get this geospace on the radar. More so rig. And then of course I still love my Valero. I mean, look at that, 244, guys. Oh, talking about patterns. Check out Urban Outfitters doing what we said it would do. I mean, are you crazy? Urban Outfitters? Who's buying this garbage? Somebody real soon. Get oversold. And this, we're hit XA level, which is 61. Hop 56 maybe. But you're talking the first opportunity since back in November. And then you had that huge move, 60 to 84. Same kind of thing. There are a few of these. How about Target? 115, and Target's putting in a daily HSI. But Target isn't a daily story. It's a weekly or even a monthly Mambo. Talk about Mojo patterns, guys. There's not a lot of Mojo today. Not a lot of Mojo in the markets, but Target harmonically is interesting. And maybe we retest $100 or 102 or 3, something like that. But this is a massive, I would say this should be a generational low. Generational. And then talk to me in 4 years when you get to target 2. But that is what has to be. Not ready to run, but let's see what happens in the next 2 months, 3 months. Anything under 110 is probably okay. Yeah. AMKAF. AM? No idea. Oh, that's the shipper. Moller-Maersk. Yeah, I think it's too late. You can't really... I never did well with shippers, ever. Ever did well with shippers, ever. They lose too much money, too much risk. Shippers and airlines. Avoid. And anything that sells like recreational RVs or recreational boats. There's been a few over the years. Just disaster business models destined to fail. WOR. Worthington Enterprise. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, I can't. Nothing. Says industrial machinery. Okay, you got me. We need to make more machines here. Yeah, I don't really have anything. I like these. Okay, there's a bat. I have 48, but not much else. Yeah, wish I could serve up a ton of these, but I just, they're not there. Hey, remember what we were talking about in hymns? Hymns. Remember we were in this lower zone. Here you go. We're back at the lower zone. And it's a good one to look at because uh, this one failed, obviously, but it was failing here and went all the way below the hop, popped up, and look what happened. We went counter all over the place, like arrow, diamond, dot, break it down. I'm expecting hymns to be back down. So I just wanted to update. Not only is that a failed pattern, but it's an example of something that's telling you it's going to break even further with a confirmation continuation like that. I'll give you guys one other one, and then I'm going to get out of here. Robinhood at $70 is in big trouble. This is done. And I had a big position last year in this. It was tough. And I sold a bunch way too early. I sold my last bit right at the top, like 148. Thought about going back in really heavy on this. And I'm telling you, this makes me think. We have failed this pattern. We had the bat pattern on Robinhood since 87.45. And now your new low is under $69. There's only one place for this to go, guys. That's $30. Be aware. So you kind of heard that here first. I'm ready to say we're breaking down. You break down a little further. You only have one possibility underneath this whole stretch of support. Under 68, under 66. And then it's all the way back for a looping retest. $30. Kind of crazy, right? That's where we are. I'm not... I don't like it, I mean, I see charts setting up like this, or I see things like Oracle not doing what it's doing. Here's the other one. Been waiting for a long time for Amazon to get back to that 189 area. And we're up here again. What's the problem? It's just not happening faster than I'd like to see, or anybody. Hey, let's get this over with so we can do our retracement down and then go back up. But last week we put in a couple of overbought arrows, dots, all of that around 215, currently 207. And I still think we have to retest April type of things. 189, 182. And I want to be a buyer down there. But not until we get down to that 180-ish. And I still like it, but I'm going to have to kind of reiterate a lot of these levels, because the only other thing that has got me thinking, so we haven't had a flush yet, but a lot of things are falling apart individually. I'm going to watch this whole Amazon situation. Are we falling apart on Amazon like we did with Netflix and Intuit? And so let me bring this up. I'm going to wrap up with these. The last two or three are going to be, really indicative of what goes on here. All right. If this is going to be done, if Amazon's just doing this quick reactive move to sub 200, 190-ish, we stop this month. And I'm watching that on the monthly. What has me concerned though is we've rolled down, rejected the 50, and we're headed back lower. So let's just get ready for this flush and we'll see how deep it cuts. Because if it's like Intuit, all right, or like Netflix, it might have to go all the way down. And that's my one concern. I want you guys really understand this from two perspectives. One, no joke, I'm looking for the flush. Okay? And I'm looking for a flush for opportunity, but I also want you to know if it smashes and it goes deep oversold, it's going to take a lot more time before that's an opportunity. At best for Intuit, maybe you're retesting 4-year lows. That's dangerous. That's not what you do in a trend continuation environment. You need to pop up. Intuit is the one that's on monthly, and then Netflix is the other. And these were top tier. So Netflix on the monthly, guys, again, we get to the end of the month. If I wanted to buy Netflix, it could not even be until this completes. We get an arrow and then the following month. But be aware that if we get a deeper retrace on some of those bigger plays, Amazon, Meta, QQQ to like 500, it's going to be from that perspective. What about NQ? NQ back up 200. Right now, I just not my cup of tea today. All right, look, hop level in a 30-second. I mean, that's not bad. This has been one of the things that for me has been working. 30-second hop levels on the deep crab. Perfect. 163 was the low. 168 was the hop. Went to 265. What do we got? 5-second. Yeah. Look, we'll probably ping pong around, but the 4-hour time frame is still like this, and this is where we started, and I'll finish, okay, for today. Listen, you're like this, and into Thursday session, guys, we're looking for the type 2 return. So that's still another 3%. 2%, 3% lower. I think this week, this was a one and done. And be really clear. 4-hour perfect butterfly. The type 1 did it in one bar, and now you're headed back down. Beyond that, let's just keep monitoring setups. Let's look at gold. Let's look at silver. Those would be new areas. The rest, you're going to have to wait and see. HSY, that's another one that, again, it's the counter play, counter economy, defensive stock play. But, you're looking for this. Look, get oversold on the daily. I mean, that broke out for sure. That's on the daily. Oversold daily. Yeah, I mean, not bad. I think Clorox was the one. I really like that one because we're back down. This is the one scraping lows, but I'm looking for this to turn around in the next month. Clorox, Target, Hershey's, sure, why not? And then Microsoft and Amazon, these are all going to be, I think, like 5% lower. So let them drop. Microsoft today, again, I'll leave you guys with that. This is where I'm looking. Like, we get Microsoft to 352. I'd have to say we're close to a bottom. Really close to a bottom. And that could be a week or so, 2 weeks to happen, or could happen by Thursday. Because we're in that, we just entered into that area right now. You got it. Tesla's the other one. No, I mean, again, guys, the other one, Tesla, is one where I said all along it's going to be in that retrace phase. And I know we haven't looked at that for a long time, but you're down here at 380. Doesn't seem like much, but it's been ideal. Daily bat pattern, the weeklies like this. It's a perfect type 2. And that would be 250. What would get me to jump into Tesla if, let's say it's not going, there's the T2. Let's say it's going to target 2 or not going to target 2. We would need some kind of oversold signal. Nothing's there. Trying to come out maybe this week. But you're still in this bigger retrace phase. You're just, you got a whole bunch of setups that are not doing anything, and you're going to need more time. We'll take it into Thursday. All right, guys, that's what I have for this week. I'll be back on Thursday a little earlier, hopefully. You got any questions, hit me over on the Discord. And new folks, you know what to do. Get the software. Send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst. Free for 2 weeks. I'll give away some licenses and a couple coupon codes on Thursday. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one. I'll catch you then. As always, go get them.